actions of the president are criminal. He should be held to the same. Excuse me, I'm still speaking. Can you please let me finish my statement?
Yeah, correctly. What's your name?
I mean, you just came on my show. You don't know my name? My name's Anna.
I don't, actually. I thought I was talking to
Look how important she feels like she is. What is good, YouTube family? It's your boy Rashad with the Black Anomaly Rising channel. Today, I'm going to be covering another Young Turks video. This is basically another meltdown video by Cenk and Anna. I mean, really is more so, it's different than some of the stuff before where Anna's kind of going a little bit more red-pilled. This is her kind of reverting back to her old ways. Like, essentially in this video, they're interviewing Vivek Ramaswamy about multiple different things. I'm going to specifically in this video be reacting to his defense of Donald Trump and how he's going to pardon Donald Trump if he were to become president, which he won't. And I'm pretty sure this is my first Vivek video that I'm covering, but it definitely won't be the last because Vivek is essentially like the Obama of the Republican Party. You know, it's not his time yet, because obviously Trump is going to be the guy, but I definitely think that next go round, going into 2028, I definitely think Vivek's probably got it. I can't really think of anybody. I mean, Vivek was, at least for a while, up in the polls higher than everybody. I mean, higher than DeSantis, and DeSantis has a proven track record politically in Florida. Vivek doesn't have any, but, I mean, which is, you know, a lot of people's biggest criticism of him, but in all fairness, I mean, do we really trust the guys who've been in politics for like 20, 30, in some cases 40 plus years? You really trust those guys? I know I don't. Anyway, y'all, look, let's see what the Young Turks has to say in this clear meltdown here.
60% of young Americans today say they would sooner give up their right to vote than to give up their access to TikTok. We have a 25% recruitment deficit in the U.S. military. Less than 16% of Gen Z says they're proud to be American. And I think there is no question which Republican candidate is, you know, really which candidate, period, in this race is best reaching young voters at a large scale. We see it in college campuses across this country.
This is something that I think is very important. Historically, the Republican Party freaking sucks. They're terrible at reaching young voters. It's like they don't even try. You know, I mean, you heard Nikki Haley. If you haven't seen this video, definitely go back and check it out, where she's like lambasting Vivek for, she's like just beating him over the head practically for having the audacity to leverage TikTok like all the Democrats do for trying to win. She's saying that he's evil for supporting China and how awful TikTok is. And I'm like, chick, first off, you down in the polls, so why you even talking to me? Like, I'm higher than you. That's what Vivek should be saying. Secondly, you need to attract young voters, okay? Inspiring young people. That's one of the reasons why Obama won 2 elections in a landslide, because he pretty much inspired everybody, like a bunch of independents, a bunch of young voters, a bunch of middle-aged voters, elderly. Like, he pretty much had every damn body on lock, obviously, except for a lot of diehard conservatives. But Vivek, I think, has the potential here. He actually knows what the heck he's doing. He's not shutting out that group, right? Whereas the majority of the conservatives, it seems like they don't have a damn clue how to tap into that. And I feel like that's a terrible mistake that's going to lead to an inevitable L if any of those folks are the inevitable nominee over Vivek. You know, it's either Trump, Vivek, or DeSantis. Them other folks don't stand a chance. They just going to lose. It's going to be a waste for the GOP and for the country, really.
And so, yes, I think I will be able to reach that next generation and inspire national pride in that next generation better than anybody else in this race.
So, Vivek, you're saying then, by definition, you're running against him. You are better than the best president of the 21st century. And that the main reason why you're better than Donald Trump is because you're younger than Donald Trump. Am I understanding that right?
And because as a function of being younger, I'm going to be able to reach the next generation, reunite this country. And I do think that reuniting this country and reaching the next generation will be part of what allows us to take the America First agenda to the next level.
I got you. But
I won't be the
you're
same
better
person
than Donald Trump, right?
Well, I wouldn't be running if I didn't think I was the best candidate for the job. So yes, I believe I am the best candidate for U.S. president. I think there are 2 America First candidates in the race. And I do think it has to be an America First candidate that leads the country forward. However, between it's the tried and true, I admit, if you want tried and true, you go with Donald Trump. If you want the next generation with fresh legs to lead us forward, you go with me. And I think that that's going to be the successful formula that leads us to success in this race.
I'm going to follow up on something you said earlier. You said that you would pardon Donald Trump on these unjust charges. So if you pardon him on taking national secrets without permission, not returning them, lying to the FBI, etc., does that mean that Joe Biden is allowed?
Didn't they already drop the charges with the whole documents situation? I believe they have. Somebody fact check me on that, but I believe that's already been dropped. And also, didn't Joe Biden do the same thing? I'm so confused about the hypocrisy here, because inevitably they were saying they had to subpoena Donald Trump for his stuff or something along those lines. But okay, when you subpoenaed him, he still returned. He didn't refuse him after the subpoena, right? So what's the problem? I guess I'm confused, what the issue is here. And since when do American people give a damn about confidential documents? How the hell did you get people to care so much about this? Seriously, you literally got millions of illegals coming into the country, and the majority of the Democrat Party doesn't bat an eye. Most of the people that I know in real life aren't even talking about it. Some people don't even know about it. And I'm like, how? But you care about documents, the U.S. national security secrets, that a lot of documents don't contain that, but some of them do. Some of the work I do involves document classification, and I can tell you it's arbitrary labels. It really doesn't even freaking matter. You might say something is top secret and it's got some BS in it. It really doesn't even matter. So I'm like, why the hell do anybody care about this? Does anybody even know what's in the damn document? I don't understand what the big deal is, honestly.
To do the same thing, that he could just take national secrets, show them to anyone he likes. Even after he's president, he could just take the documents, bring them home, show them to anyone he likes. And maybe other people too, anyone who's got access to national secrets. Can they just show them to everyone? Or is it just a special privilege that Donald Trump gets to have because you like him?
Well, it is whether you like the law or not, I believe in this thing called the law. And the law does give what's that?
I say I'd love to see it, because Donald Trump has broken about a dozen laws, and you'd say you'd pardon him on every one of those criminal actions. Prove it.
I think part of the reason why is that those laws that are alleged to be broken, I don't believe have been broken here. If I did believe that and believe it was definitive, then I wouldn't adopt the position that I do. Every case brought against him levels a novel legal theory never before used.
This is the thing that they keep doing on the Young Turk. They basically keep saying, well, he's broken all these laws. But Donald Trump has literally been impeached twice already, and he has several indictments. Some charges have been dropped for a variety of different reasons. They have never been able to get Donald Trump. There's one of two things that's happening here. Either this man is just a genius beyond all comprehension and is better than the entire legal system and all the hatred that he has going toward him, including from prosecutors and judges and juries. So he's just better than all of those people. Or two, he's innocent, and no matter what, they can't get him unless they freaking frame him or something. So it's one of those two things. Either he's just basically the GOAT, the greatest of all time, or he's innocent. Take your pick.
So for the particular case that you asked about, and I believe in getting into details. Details matter. If you're going to convict somebody criminally, yes, the details doggone well matter. So the Presidential Records Act explicitly lays out the criteria for what documents a prior president is and is not able to access. If you don't like the law, change the law. But part of the reason is that we already entrust the US president with making all kinds of incredible judgments, whether or not to use nuclear weapons on down. So yes, that same president we do entrust when leaving office with access to those same records. The judges have interpreted it, and even in the Clinton sock drawer case, as it related to Bill Clinton, revealing undoubtedly classified information afterwards, a judge explicitly came down on interpreting that statute. So I've laid this out in detailed articles in the Wall Street Journal and elsewhere, but why am I bothering talking about it as opposed to legal scholars elsewhere? Let them debate it. My job is to unite this country, and I do not think it sets a good precedent when the president of the United States and the Justice Department under him uses police force to indict its political opponents in the middle of an election and then issue gag orders to say that that opponent during the presidential election can't even talk about that relevant set of issues.
This is the thing that's so ridiculous. So this is, and it's really dumb that I don't understand why a lot of like leftists don't understand this, right? If you're like a far leftist Democrat or any type of Democrat whatsoever, and you just like hate Donald Trump, and you just don't care. You don't even care if he's guilty. You just don't like him. You just lock him up. I don't even care if he's guilty. Just lock him up. Just get him out of my face, right? That's basically how a lot of people are. So if that's the case, the problem here is, I mean, guys, you got to use your head. What do you think is going to happen when you get certain conservatives in office? Hell, it could even be Donald Trump get in office, because there's a good chance that he's going to win this next election. So what if Donald Trump just decides, oh, you know what, I'm just indict this person, I mean, or him, or it could be anybody. I mean, obviously, I don't think Vivek would do it. I mean, he would be like an extreme hypocrite if Vivek turned around and did it. But it could be any conservative. What if you get some radical conservative up in there and they just want to just throw indictments? Like what if you get a supermajority in Congress and you get a Republican president, and then they just throw indictments out of the wazoo? It's going to be a total crap show. And I really don't want to see that. And I think that's what people don't understand, that people, they just got to get them so bad, but they don't care about the details. I mean, clearly the folks, even on the Young Turks, don't care about the details. They don't have the details to prove that Donald Trump's guilty. They thought he was going to lose the impeachments when he got impeached. You know, like they thought for sure, oh, we got him. Like, but it didn't happen, guys. It's probably not going to happen. You know, like, it just is what it is. And so obviously the details matter here, and you don't want this thing to turn into this freaking war of indictments, which is the whole reason why I think the term witch hunt is appropriate. And I really wish that they would just cut it out, let the actual people, for the people who are saying that they're fighting for democracy, they're fighting hard as hell not to let democracy win and let the voters choose who they actually want to win the election. They're absolutely not letting this happen, and they're trying everything at their disposal. That's why they have so many dang indictments. Otherwise, why would you need them, and why would you wait until like right before the election is about to happen to do it? It's clear election interference. Nobody sees that as an issue. Like, how come you didn't indict Donald Trump before? It took you multiple years to gather evidence. I just don't buy it.
I just don't think that's a good precedent, and I don't want to see that in one direction or the other. That's wrong.
Do you believe it's a good precedent to implement a slate of fake electors to overturn the results of our democratic process and go against the will of the American voters?
So, look, I think that there were serious issues that need to be discussed relating to election integrity. However, I would not have made those same judgments that Donald Trump did. This, though, belongs to the voters. This is a judgment for the voters of this country, not a judgment for a justice system that lands people in prison as its ultimate goal, especially political opponents. I just think that's bad for the United States of America.
Okay.
So leave it to the voters. Trust the voters to make the decision of who governs, instead of trying to take it out of the voters' hands. And I don't think that should be a controversial idea.
Yeah, it's definitely controversial, because what you're saying is
leaving it to the voters is controversial.
No, not that. Hold on.
When the former president broke laws, including going against the will of the American voters by implementing a slate of fake electors, which were noted as such in memos passed around within the Trump campaign. They were referred to as fake and fraudulent electors.
Wait, who said this? This just sounds like a bunch of BS. Because I actually looked into this whole fake elector situation, because I knew that, like, you know, I hadn't heard about this until the indictment actually came through. So back in my younger years, I would have just bought into this nonsense. But I actually looked this up. And what is actually called is contingent electors. So obviously, they were not calling it that in the Trump campaign. I found some actual evidence. They were talking about even up to including text messages where they were saying that they never called it any type of like fake electors. Why the hell would you like incriminate yourself like that? That sounds stupid. What they actually called it was contingent electors. I'm giving y'all layman's terms of what a contingent elector is. Okay, so a contingent elector is contingent is an elector that you submit that's contingent upon legal actions of the Trump campaign. So they submitted a bunch of different lawsuits to a bunch of different places. And if they were to win, then those electors would be certified. If they lose, nothing happens. Everything just goes as normal. That's basically, in a nutshell, how it works, okay?
That is part of the evidence. Another piece of evidence that I think is compelling, to say the least, is that they had fake electors in the state of New Mexico, which had absolutely no pending litigation in regard to election.
I just want to say that, I just want to say this. So there's no such thing as fake electors, okay? Like, I'm not really sure. I guess this term was created by the liberal media or something. But there's really no such thing as fake electors. Like, if you really think about what that means, there's no such thing. You could call them a fraudulent attempt to certify electors who shouldn't be. You could say that. But there's no such thing as fake electors. So, I mean, it might be me kind of splitting hairs, but I just felt like it's necessary in this case.
Any legal system, and if you want to go into the details of this, the First Amendment absolutely protects, and courts have held this for a long time, dating back to a case called Alvarez, I think it was in 2012, that political officials, including candidates for election, unfortunately, like it or not, have the First Amendment right not to tell the truth. That's just a fact. It's not something that we should necessarily.
So Donald Trump was lying. So Donald Trump was lying.
That's for the courts to decide. But what I'm telling you guys,
so then he should be tried. If it's for the courts to decide, and we live in a country of laws, and he's being charged with a very important criminal act, why do you get to decide instead of the court system and say, oh, just let him off? Who cares what that is?
Because nobody else has been charged under the same set of facts.
Because no one else tried to do a coup against America with a fake elector scheme. Do you know a second person who's ever been accused of that?
We've had contested elections dating back to the late 1800s in this country, and a lot.
Yeah, but no one ever did fake electors and tried to do a coup, Vivek. So are you saying, because this is really important?
Why is this being referred to as a coup? Like, this guy is so freaking nuts. Like, this is actually, again, the Trump derangement syndrome is kicking in again. Like, this is based off of legal theory. This is actually something that's happened before. I can't remember the details behind it, but I have seen the fact, like, I looked deep into this, and I have seen that this is something that's happened before, and they were able to actually overturn an election using this before. So when they're saying that it's never happened, that's actually false.
It's good for the goose is good for the gander. So you're saying Joe Biden on his way out can take any national secrets and show them to anyone he likes. Maybe you could even sell them, whatever. He could just take them. Who cares?
He can't sell them.
And hold on.
I'm pretty clear about this.
Okay.
Can't sell them.
Okay, all right. But if Donald Trump is charged with selling them, are we allowed to try him then, or do we just have to let him go?
You see how he's just making stuff up now? He's like, oh, maybe he can sell U.S. secrets. He's not even staying on task. They jumped from electors. They jumped to a coup. They jumped to selling secrets. I'm like, what is this? This dude is like all over the place.
No matter what he's charged with.
We're going to be on for most of an hour, so I think it's just important for you to understand something about me. I care about the details. Facts actually matter. I don't care about
the details
random
as well.
jousting.
And you just implemented a law having to do with political speech of a president and extended it to the actions of the president. If the actions of the president are criminal, he should be held to the same. Excuse me, I'm still speaking. Can you please let me finish my statement? Okay? If the actions of the president happen to be illegal actions, especially in the context of our democratic process, you genuinely believe that that individual should not be held accountable for what he engaged in. You think that any former sitting president of the United States can attempt to steal elections, can attempt to implement fake electors and go against the will of the American people. Is that what you're arguing here?
And I just want to.
There's no. So basically they keep calling it fake electors, but again, nobody's ever actually. Like, legally, they can't even really call it fake electors. I mean, I guess they could try, but again, they're purporting like as if he's guilty of it when the evidence doesn't necessarily demonstrate that. Like, that's basically what they keep doing. And it's kind of funny that he doesn't know Anna's name.
Address you correctly. What's your name?
I mean, you just came on my show. You don't know my name? My name's Anna.
I don't, actually. I thought I was talking to
Look how important she feels like she is. Bro, like, I promise you, the majority of Americans don't know who Cenk or Anna are. I mean, I've talked to plenty of people since I started this channel, and nobody knows who the hell these idiots are. Especially Anna. Like, even though she's the girl, like, normally you would think people would know the girl. No, they know Cenk because he's a nut, and Anna's a nut, but not nearly as much as Cenk. So people know him, they don't know her. And I don't know how the hell you come on the show and there's no introductions. Like, I mean, that's just being polite. So obviously there's some clear animosity here. I guess they just turned on the cameras and just started going at it, I guess.
Okay. Cenk, what's your name?
My name is Anna.
Anna, good. No, we're gonna be chatting for a while. I just wanted to address you conversationally.
Should have prepared for the interview ahead of time.
Well, Anna, you guys invited me on your show. I'm making some time for you guys. I'm happy to have the open debate. Let's get some facts actually straight here.
I thought you were detail-oriented. I don't know. It's just you're the one.
You see how she's just being petty at this point? It's not even about facts. They're just trying to treat it like some sort of lion's den, or at least Anna is right now. Is trying to treat it like some sort of lion's den. Cenk can't stay on topic. Anna is just being petty and nasty for no reason. You know, you almost wish it was Donald Trump here so he could just be like, "You are a nasty person," because that's what she's doing right now.
I didn't mean that as a personal affront, Anna. I promise you, and I'm looking forward to getting into substance with you. So the reality is, you're making an assertion that he broke the law. And then everything that you're doing is working backwards, making a legal judgment on a complex legal theory that has never been brought against a defendant in American history. So that's a circular reasoning. It's a circular loop.
No,
what I would prefer to
it's
do
not,
is measure
Vivek.
the facts.
That doesn't make any sense what you're saying.
Been somebody
Vivek, we're not making
this legal theory.
But Vivek, you're going in circles. Hold on, let's be clear.
Nope.
So we're not making the assertion. Prosecutors are making that assertion. And you're saying, do not let the prosecutors do their job. Foreclose that. I don't want to discuss this. Hold on, let me finish. So can Joe Biden do a fake elector scheme and just make up electors and declare himself president as Donald Trump wanted to do? And you admitted earlier he is lying. Donald Trump was lying. And so can Joe Biden
say that? That's not what he said.
And say, I've got fake electors, and I'll even call them fake electors, and then you're not allowed to prosecute them because you just said, that's it. No one's allowed to prosecute former presidents. Go ahead. So is Joe Biden allowed to do the same exact thing Donald Trump?
Let me just ask you guys a question, because I think I'm getting a sense for your command of the details here. Which case would you like to talk about? There are 4 pending cases.
Go ahead, fake electors. Is Joe Biden allowed to do the same
one
fake
of you is talking about documents, and one of you is talking about
because he broke so many laws. But let's stick with fake electors. Go ahead.
Which one would you like to discuss?
Fake electors. Go ahead.
This is ridiculous.
So there is no crime here that can be charged. That's the answer. There's no relevant crime. Now, can voters take this into account when determining who their next president is? Absolutely. That's exactly how our process works. But our Constitution has a process that has been followed, and it was followed here. And the US president absolutely, even if he's the outgoing president, has an opportunity to share his opinion, even if those opinions are not true, and if that's found in a court of law. I don't have a view on that, but that's what the allegations are.
That's what a court of law is, Vivek.
I think that the only thing that Vivek probably should have did is, I mean, it kind of seems like they understand that you can have contingent electors. They just don't care. they just don't care if that he has them. They just want to just try to throw the book at him and make it up as some sort of criminal action. But again, this has precedent. If you have legal challenge, then yes, you can challenge with contingent electors pending the legal cases.
But you're saying we're not allowed to go to a court of law.
I'm not saying that you're not allowed to. I'm saying that I would pardon him because I think that these do not match the actual law that the Supreme Court has held applying to these set of facts. And I think it's a bad judgment for the US Justice Department to bring this case because it divides the country and it sets an awful precedent that will now be used going forward for years unless we do something about it. Unless it takes a leader who actually unites this country. This is the new precedent in the United States of America. The new precedent is the party in power will look at who the opponent is and throw the legal statute book at them. That's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to find a crime and then decide whether or not you want to prosecute it according to the same standards you use for every American. That is not what's happening here. And there is little doubt that if Donald Trump were not running for president, they would not have brought these charges.
Facts. Facts. flags. This is off. They literally waited years until Donald Trump's running for president again. It looks like he's about to freaking blow Joe Biden's back out in the worst, most humiliating way possible. It's about to be leftist meltdowns. Of course, they're trying anything at their disposal. Of course.
So I think that if you ask me, does this move towards uniting the country or not? I think it does not. I think it moves towards dividing the country, which is why I have been clear. Even though I'm running against Donald Trump, I would pardon him if I'm elected president, because that will move this nation forward. And I do not think that we should be guided by vengeance and grievance against one man. I do not think that that helps the United States of America. That's why I'm in this race, and that's why I clearly answer your question. You asked me, why would I pardon? That's why I would pardon.
And just to be clear, you have absolutely no problem with the Trump campaign implementing fake electors in the state of New Mexico, which had no pending litigation in regard to election fraud. You're okay with that?
So they actually did submit a legal challenge. Now, how it turns from a legal challenge into pending litigation, I'm not exactly sure. But if you actually look into this, they submitted litigation. It was everywhere. They submitted a legal challenge, like anywhere where they lost. To like, trust me, there was so many freaking lawsuits. I don't remember the exact number, but there was a ton of them. So yes, they did have legal challenge in New Mexico as well.
There is a difference between what I've made the same judgments.
Yes or no?
I don't think that's illegal. I do not think,
you don't think that's
anything
illegal?
That's been laid out.
Okay, you don't value our democratic process. Great to hear it.
I don't think anything that's laid out has been a violation of the law. That's what I believe.
That's amazing. Okay, all right.
Like, you see how like much vitriol there was here. They're trying to like put words in his mouth. You know, like it doesn't make any sense. It's one of those things where the reality of this situation is a lot of this is just based off of ignorance. And I can tell you right now that like these folks at the Young Turks are full of themselves. They think that they're incredibly smart. Like I believe like Cenk is like, he's supposed to be like a lawyer. I don't know if he's actually a licensed attorney, but he's supposed to be a lawyer. So you would think that he would be like more adept at this sort of stuff. But when you actually, I guarantee you, anybody, you don't have to be that smart. Anybody who actually looks into this stuff, you can see the details yourself. You can see like what it actually means to have these contingent electors. Like you can see exactly what they're talking about, and it sounds like they know a little bit about it. They just don't want to accept that it's illegal to do. They're trying to argue that it's illegal to do that, which there's no way to like prove that it's illegal to do. There's no explicit law that you cannot do that. You know what I'm saying? Like with Mike Pence, he didn't want to do it, right? He felt uncomfortable doing it, but there's nothing that's saying that you can't do it. You know, and maybe you could argue that Mike Pence had good judgment because he didn't want to do it, and Donald Trump didn't, and now Donald Trump's in all this trouble, so maybe you can make that argument, but in terms of whether or not it's actually illegal, it's different from whether or not it was good judgment or not, and whether or not it's going to get you in some hot water. I mean, of course they hate Trump so bad. Of course, pretty much him freaking farting is going to be considered like a crime against humanity, right? So anyway, y'all, this is kind of ridiculous. They have more. Like, this was apparently an interview that was much longer. They broke it up in a couple pieces. I may do some more reactions to it. You know, we'll see how this video does. If you enjoy and you want to see more, you know what to do. Thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching. We out.